What is going on? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today I want to talk about SoFi. I want to talk on why it's going down as much as it is. There is a lot of interesting things that have come out that ultimately is talking about brick and mortar and whether SoFi is going to change that. I'm going to talk about that and what that actually means for us as investors. And finally, one big thing that did come out for SoFi, which is huge. I'm going to go over all that, but before I get into any of that though, all I ask, smash a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, let's get right to it. So you can see the live ticker to my left, it is currently down 2%. As of right now, 9.3 million shares being traded today. That's within the first 1 hour of the trading day. So it is going to be another heavy day. I've been always saying that because when it comes down to it, the average block volume is 46 and we are always exceedingly above that. In addition to within the first 1 hour of the trading day, again, 1.3 million shares being purchased by institutions and hedge funds today alone, and you can tell that based on the block volume column. So another big day for institutions getting into SoFi. They acknowledge and realize SoFi is at a substantial discount, so they are buying the dip as they have been and as they should. But with all of that though, there is a couple of interesting things that did come out today. I just want to quickly talk on why SoFi is down as much as it is. One of which is economic data. So the jobless claims wasn't as good as expectation was. So you can see the initial jobless claims as 202,000, whereas the forecast was 197, so well above that. And in addition to that, it does look like the consumer sentiment is a little bit lower, and also the spending is a little bit lower, largely linked to inflation. So that's causing a little bit more fear in the broader market. So that's ultimately what's causing SoFi to go down as much as it is. But there is a lot of good things I do want to talk about. Like I said, a lot of institutions are getting in. You can tell based on the new round of 13Fs coming down the pipeline, there is a lot of institutions that have been adding. So a lot of big things coming, and this is still ETF season. It is mid-April. That is when you need to watch for. That is when the big players are showing their new 13Fs and what they have been doing. Keep in mind, all of this information is delayed. This is all Q4 information from 2021, but unfortunately it's the best and most specific information that we do have. Like I said, other than that, you can always tell based on the block volume column, but unfortunately it doesn't really specify who is actually getting in. But you can tell right here there is some institutions outright shorting SoFi, and so that's very interesting. Especially shorts have been plaguing SoFi for quite some time, as has manipulation. But I just want to go over this quickly. So short interest right now is relatively high, so 17.27, down roughly about 6% from 1 week prior. Utilization is 100%, pretty stagnant today, and yet cost to borrow is going down. So usually I find that very interesting. Cost to borrow going down, meaning it's cheaper for shorts to maintain their position, but yet they're not really adding a huge amount. So that definitely shows a little bit more of a fear, shows that SoFi is near at least the bottom per se. And overall though, you can tell 61,000 shares are being ultimately additionally shorted. But like I've been saying, 17.26 is way too high for what SoFi does and what it offers. And I just want to let you know all this information is available via Ortex. Link is in the description below for you to pop over. But like I said, there is a lot of good things coming from SoFi, and one was this: top 100 most influential companies of 2022. SoFi, that is a huge deal, the new bank on the block. So I really do like that, and there's Nodo. So at the end of the day, this is a very big deal, shows that they're actually doing something right. I really like that, especially as should you as investors in SoFi. But like I said, when it comes down to SoFi, typically they are very innovative. They're clearly getting a lot of pushback from the traditional banking systems, aka Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, which both gave downgrades to SoFi despite the good news, despite the good amount of new customers getting in, that are clearly downgrading and very fearful of the new movement from SoFi. But when it comes down to it, I found this very interesting about the news, and whether it does roll out into SoFi or not, but it does look like right here, fintechs adding brick and mortar banks become a global trend. So at the end of the day, it does go to say that ultimately, in order to get the huge amount of customers to compete with the traditional banks, you need to open up at least some brick and mortar banks. I found that very interesting. It kind of contradicts the whole fintech kind of movement, but at the end of the day, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I personally disagree with that, and I don't think it's needed whatsoever, and it will just add additional costs and just kind of get them down the wrong road. But like I said, it clearly shows that it is becoming a global trend, so who knows if SoFi will eventually go down that route in a big way or not. But I found that very interesting to see. But yet, looking at some of the data that's coming out, you can see price to sales is well above the industry, so clearly they are doing something right. I really do like that. And on a side note, if you ever want to take a look at Interactive Interactive Brokers has a lot of good information, even about SoFi, every stock that you're looking for. I have a link to them in the description below. And I know this is a SoFi video, hypothetically Interactive Brokers kind of goes against them. Just unfortunately, SoFi is not available to Canada as of right now. So this is the only reason why I'm not using SoFi. So SoFi, if you are listing, jump over to Canada. I greatly appreciate that. It would really help. But anyways, in the meantime, there is a lot of good things, and clearly looking at a lot of the ratios, it does show SoFi is doing something right. I really do like that, and the fact that, again, going back to that brick and mortar scenario, it goes to show that there is some pushback towards the whole fintech movement. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But with all that, I'm just going to tie it all together with some technical analysis. So right now at the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, and also RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So overall, pretty good representation. Despite us being down though, momentum indicator is actually up. So I really do like that. Stochastic is relatively high, is getting to a little bit more of overbought status, and there is no defined trend right now, which is good or bad depending on how you see that. RSI is currently at 47, fairly neutral, and looking on the actual chart, still technically higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, and so that's fairly positive. The fact that we haven't transitioned from the higher to the lower is good. And looking a little bit more on this, as far as some of the Fibonacci levels, like I've always said, $9.47 is a point to watch for. That in reality we did touch exactly $9.47. That is very strong support that we do have, and if we do break below that, then most likely we will continue to trade between the S2 and the S1. But like I said, I don't anticipate that happening. I see us bouncing off of that and trending up a little bit more. Like I've always said, there is a huge upside, and 2022 is going to be SoFi's year to shine. So like I've always said, it's a little bit more perspective. I find these as a great buying opportunity, but keep in mind though, I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. Looking on the actual chart overall though, it is a little bit more mixed. Some bullish sentiments, some bearish sentiments. So like I said, it is what it is, but clearly looking at some of the actual ratios, it shows SoFi is doing good, better than the brick and mortar per se. So it is interesting to see exactly, like I said, they're trying to push a lot of these fintechs to brick and mortar. And with this though, this news that came out saying that SoFi is one of the most influential companies and is the new bank on the block, that it can't get any better than that. With all that though, let me know your thoughts on SoFi in the comments below. If you haven't already, smash the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With all that said though, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.